Bam, 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 bam. Nope, that's Miami. This is news. Damn it. One of these days, I've been saying this for a year and a half, but one of these days, we will have a news intro. That's not this.
The longest bit of all time. We are never going to have a news intro. It's just going to be this.
Yep. And I'm going to do it every single time.
And it's going to sound authentic.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only, first on the scene, Skeeter McGreen. What's up, dude?
McGreen screen. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. That would be cool if you had a green screen right now. That would have really landed.
I should fucking do that. Whenever we do it remote, I'll just throw a green screen behind me and then put like the weather.
Can we both have green screens of like the news studio behind us? Hold on.
I mean, that would absolutely.
This is more important right now than the news.
That we can.
Hey, yours. Do you have yours up?
Yeah, mine's up.
Okay,
it's like it's cutting my mic out randomly.
Well, if you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing some really good shit right now because we are literally in news studios.
I might have an aneurysm at some point, so I'll probably remove mine at some point. But I'm going to keep it up as long as possible.
Yeah, same. The goal is to see who can keep it up the longest. All right. Anyway,
we're playing News Chicken.
Yeah. So if you're not watching YouTube, you're not going to see who loses. You'll hear it though.
We've played Nude Chicken before. This is a new one.
Yeah. Wait. Allegedly. But anyway, we are here to cover some news this week. We were graced by the news gods finally. Usually when we do this, the news drops the day after, but not this time. This time we actually have some news to report, and we are excited to bring it to you. What's on the list there, Magoots?
Well, you know what I realized about that is Bravo tends to release news and trailers and things like that on Wednesdays. Now, a lot of the other stuff just kind of pops off randomly for social media. But what I've realized is we do it, and we've been doing it on Tuesday. We record Tuesday, it drops Wednesday. Bravo then drops all of their news, and they do a whole news dump on Monday mornings, and we are behind the eight ball. But now, thanks to Salt Lake and us having screeners, we were able to do Salt Lake yesterday, and today was news. So if it flip-flopped, I would have been so furious. I would have probably just said, let's just do it again. Just leave that news one up from yesterday. Let's just do it again.
Yeah, so I'm stoked that we have some things to talk about. There's one big one. Do you want to do that one last? The new show in New York City? Or do you want to do that first?
Yeah. Let's do that last. We'll get a little warmed up. We'll tease that so everybody has to listen to the rest of the episode. Or, fast forward. But why would you do that? You're going to miss out on some great green screen stuff.
Lots of green screen bits today.
Lots of green screen bits today. But I will go into a new show, which popped up on our radar. Completely forgot about this. Thought it was a joke when I originally saw it about 4 or 5 months ago, whenever the hell they decided to film this. And that would be the Wife Swap Housewives edition. What are your initial thoughts on that? I'm going to run through the cast real quick, and then we'll get some initial thoughts here. We've got Angie K, Emily from OC, Melissa Gorga, and Dr. Wendy. What do you think about that cast? What's in 3 words or less? Explain that cast to me.
Ooh, that's tough. Okay.
That's 3 words. Contractions count. That is
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, right? Like Angie K, I would love to see more of Angie K on screen, so I'm not bummed out about that. Dr. Wendy had a phenomenal season last year, so I'm cool with having more of her on my screen. Melissa is such a flip of a coin. I don't know what we're going to get. We haven't really seen a Melissa sans Teresa. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know why Emily's on this show. Emily arguably makes this not watchable for me, just given her performance this year on OC.
The format, to my understanding, is going to be 4 separate episodes. So they're not going to do the mix and match thing. They're going to do, here's Angie K's episode, here's Emily's episode, and so on. That means you could just skip the Emily episode if you want to. I've been calling for this for a while. I think probably what we're going to end up seeing is about an hour and a half long episode, which is a 2-hour block. And they'll release them, I don't know if they're going to do it every week or every other week or 4 in a row. They could do whatever the hell they want, honestly, with the show. It's brand new. It's something new, which I'm always going to praise Bravo for, because they do need to find new things here and there. This is honestly the bulk of what we're talking about on this news episode today. But for this in particular, I'm with you. I think Melissa is a coin flip. If you like her, if you don't like her, I think that she can be good, but I'm worried because she hasn't been on screen for so long that she's going to see this as a tryout, essentially, to stay on the Jersey cast because there's so much going on with that. We don't know what the hell's going on. I'm worried that this is going to be, you know me, I'm Melissa. Of course, I'm going to just show up and do the absolute most, and it might be unwatchable. It could also be very good because we've seen it happen, and you and I kind of don't really take much of a stance on the Teresa, Melissa bullshit, mostly because we only covered like 2 seasons of Jersey, but we still watched a lot of it anyway, even before we started recording this. I just don't know because I could see it being too much of a try hard move. But I do think that there is a chance it's really good for that episode. But I agree with you. Emily's episode is going to stink. And then I think Wendy and Angie K are probably going to be really enjoyable.
Yeah, and I don't. What's the premise? Like, are they swapping with each other? Are they swapping with just like normies?
No, they're
like, what are we
swapping with
doing?
they're swapping with normies. Yeah, so they are
And
swapping
doing
with
what?
normies.
Like a
Now,
day in the life?
I guess essentially we don't have that much information, to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah,
ready?
they're switching with other families. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So
High
let's
pro.
scratch
They
that.
step away from their
Banana.
glamorous, high-profile lives to
Uh-huh.
step into the shoes of everyday women with completely different lifestyles,
Yep.
homes, and family dynamics. Okay, so yeah, they go step into our lives essentially, and
Yes.
we get to
I
see
think
what they do.
because now I immediately started second guessing myself because I had this all kind of mapped out in my brain, and they released sort of like a teaser trailer. I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, but I think Angie and Wendy switch. So it's going to be interesting with that.
I wouldn't mind one switch in like the Housewives realm. Like I think
Yeah.
that'd be kind of funny. Like we've talked in the past, joking about like trades. Like, should we trade so and so to this franchise from this franchise? So I don't mind that. I think the biggest thing for me is what you said earlier. I'm never going to shit on shows that I have not seen if it's a new premise because I want to see more shows do well on Bravo. I'm glad that they're trying to push the envelope and get newer shows out there. Is this necessarily the route I would have taken? No,
Yep.
not a housewife swap, but it's something, you know, we applauded Love Hotel for like the attempt. It was fine. Crappy Lake was great. So these different one-offs are interesting. I'm curious which one's going to catch. Like which show that we have one of these quirky ones, or is this just the new Bravo where, you know, every season or every year we're going to have a new wacky show that's a one-off?
I think that might be where they're heading. Like we'll have to see if they end up doing a second season of the Love Hotel. I think that did well enough, and I think what they'll end up doing is something that we already talked about a while ago, which is the male version of the Love Hotel, where they just kind of
Easy.
throw all of the Peter Pans from Southern Charm on a show together, and a couple
Captain
from Summer
Jason
House.
at the helm, and then you got a
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, that's probably something that they'll end up doing. But I mean, I'm okay with it just because I do think that these one-offs are important because we rely on Housewives, we rely on the mainstays. They obviously struck gold with something like Southern Hospitality, Southern
Yeah.
Charm still running, Summer House is still running. That's going to retool. That's a little bit of a teaser for the end of the episode today. But with shows like this, I've always said they have the budget. It's NBC. I know that they were, you know, a little short in the pockets, so to speak, when it came to last year because they had the Olympics on NBC. So that was a whole ordeal. They weren't able to spend as much money as they wanted to on Housewives or on Bravo in particular. So I think that this is the right move. This is the right move for Bravo because you do want to try to captivate a younger generation. You want to try to captivate more fans. You want to keep people engaged because as it is right now, from what I understand, you've got people that really watch Housewives, people that watch the other shows, and the people that watch the other shows don't really cross over too much. I remember when Summer House and Southern Charm used to cross over, people who only watched Summer House were wondering who the Southern Charm people were.
Yeah, it's
So it is a
interesting.
really weird situation that they have brewing. And if you can do this where you get, you know, people who are really big fans of, say, Melissa, because she's probably the most captivating on this cast. If you get somebody who's a huge fan of Melissa who just doesn't watch Salt Lake and loves Angie K, maybe that
Right.
person's going to start watching Salt Lake. So I think this is a really smart move. It's sort of, I would say, in the same realm as an Ultimate Girls Trip type of thing, where you get this going on, but it's a little bit quirkier and I think a little bit funnier, honestly, because Ultimate Girls Trip, you know, I was never a fan of it. The first 3 episodes of Ultimate Girls Trip were them just talking about their time on Housewives, what they did. And then finally we would get to like some sort of drama and then the season would pretty much be over. They'd be like, all right, see you never, and then move on. So you
Well,
never really got anything from that.
like the Bluestone Manor one was just a tryout for Dorinda, and giving her the keys to the kingdom for that one was a drastic mistake. because it literally turned into her just trying to force herself back into the Bravo
Mhm.
sphere. Then the next one we did, we stopped because it became all about Giselle's tequila bottle. We're like, who gives a shit? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So, and then of course the fabled Ultimate Girls Trip that never was, and I win green screen chicken.
Yeah, I
Hell
couldn't do it
yeah.
anymore, dude. I was getting the
Yes.
biggest headache. I was getting the biggest headache. I swear, I told you I was gonna have an aneurysm at some point. My
Woo.
microphone was popping in and out, and I was getting scared of my own microphone. So
Well,
it's never, if you're a podcaster, you start getting scared of your microphone. That's not a good move.
no, it's not. But I'll eat this stuff.
I don't even know what I said the last like 4 minutes. I was just kind of staring at the screen and rambling.
Yeah, well, it worked. It sounded good. But
Hey,
all in
hey.
all, like I'm excited to see what it is. Obviously there's a lot of chatter out there. It's not like I haven't heard a lot of people like super stoked for it,
Mhm.
but I'm never gonna knock them for trying something. Like give it a shot. We'll see what we got. Like Crappy Lake, I had no thoughts that it was going to be good. And it was amazing. Like I really
Yeah.
loved that show. So if they can find some and just keep throwing shit against the wall and land every once in a while with one of those, like that's good enough for me. I do think that they need, and this is another teaser for later, but we need one new Nace. Like if we get another mainstay on this with
Mhm.
Southern hospitality on the rise, Southern charm still cooking, that changes the dynamics a little bit because I think, and we've talked about this a lot, the new setup, in our opinion, lean heavier into the non-housewife shows
Yeah, for
because
sure.
those seem to be landing better with the younger, newer audience. Housewives are a mainstay. We don't want the housewives gone. That's not what I'm saying at all. Do not get my words twisted. I think while they're trying to map out this new generation of housewives that they seem to be stumbling through a little bit as they're trying to recast, retool, put on pause, like they haven't really figured out the new formula yet. But while they're doing that, keep trying to do some one-off shows. Find some quirky 20 somethings in a bar working together, like do VPR LA. Like, aren't they doing that?
They are doing VPR. Yeah.
Right. So like
It's
there's
it's the
definitely
same thing. They're still gonna be working in Sir, so
oh really? Well, that's right. That's fine. Like I'm okay with that. If they're able to find a captivating young audience, that show worked. And that's another thing that I'm a big proponent of. If you have something that works, because we don't like to compare Southern Hospitality to Vanderpump Rules anymore. Like it's not the same show in any way, shape, or form. The setup initially was similar as far as the
Mhm.
dynamic goes, and bang, it worked. So we have something that works. Let's try to repeat this model until it doesn't work and then shift rather than try to rewrite the wheel, remake the wheel, then do something totally random off the cuff. So all that to say, I'm glad that we're trying things and we'll see what we got.
I don't know. I think that a format exactly like this when it comes to wife swap has an expiration date. You're gonna run out
Yeah.
of fascinating housewives, whether they're current housewives or older housewives. You're gonna run out of a slate at some point. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna have Shep trying to, husband swap with somebody. Like that doesn't oh, that actually could work.
I don't know. That
But
sounds kind of
you
great.
know what I mean. You know
Bad
what I mean when it
example.
comes to that where it's yeah, that's a really good example of a good
Joe
show.
Gorga.
Joe Gorga, yeah, where you're gonna get somebody who's like, all right, we've run our course here. We don't want to do this anymore. But what they need to do until they can figure out their housewives, which the franchise across the board is pretty much a mess outside of 2 shows, while they're figuring all that out, is throw shit at the wall. Just
Mhm.
literally throw everything at the wall with people that you have under contract, with people that we like, that we haven't seen in a little while. If it's somebody like Melissa, or you bring back somebody like Dorinda, I don't care who it might be, but let them come back onto our screen in a different capacity. That's always going to work. It's always going to draw some sort of attention. And more than anything, what you need right now is to fill the gaps. You can only
Yeah.
do so many below decks. You can't have 7, 8, 9, 10 below decks going on at a time because your housewife franchise is in dysfunction at this point,
Right.
just so we have something to watch over the summer. It doesn't make any sense. These shows, and this show doesn't premiere until October 14th, but these shows are ripe for the summer. You have one housewife franchise going, and you've got a below deck, and then you have 2 other things that are just completely random and fun and quirky that people are going to tune into when they're not watching Love Island. Like that's what we need in the
Yeah.
downtime. And then you get your meat and potatoes when it comes to the fall and the winter because everybody's inside watching TV. Those are your big hitters. That
Yeah.
makes the most sense to me. So the fact that they're at least trying this, and this is now what, year 3 that we've been telling them to do something like this, it seems good to me. It seems like they're moving in the right direction. I don't really care if this show fails because at least it says to me that they're trying something.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it, and we'll just wait and see what we got. But let's keep trucking. What do we got next?
Let's see which direction we want to go in here. We've got 2 new shows. I'm gonna go abroad for the first one. Maybe you watched it, maybe you didn't. Ladies of London is coming back, and it's a new reign, is what they're calling it. Nobody from the original Ladies of London, because, well, Real Housewives of London actually has one of them. I think it was Juliet who was on it, and obviously,
Oh, Stanberry's not on
Caroline
either of these?
Stanberry was on it. Nope, she's not on either of these. This, from what I understand, the Ladies of London new reign is going to be all new Ladies of London. Whether they're actually from London, who knows? Because that was a big gripe of the original series, of course. But for this in particular, and actually, no, Housewives of London too. There's a couple that aren't even from London, which is funny. But for this, it's going to be on Bravo. It's not going to be on Hayu. It's not going to be on Peacock. It's going to be on Bravo. I think that's coming out a little bit later this fall, maybe early winter. And we don't really know a whole lot about it, honestly. It's already stirring up some things because they decided to drop the teaser trailer, drop the announcement at the same time as Housewives of London was premiering. So that's fun.
That's a little catty. I like that. Let's see what we got. Ladies of London new reign.
But I didn't watch the original one. Obviously, I know that Stanberry came from that. I've seen
apparently the original one is one of like the fan favorites. People say Ladies of London is like a top tier show.
Yeah. So I've definitely seen a few episodes pretty much because Peacock decides, oh, you just finished watching Real Housewives of Orange County. Here's Ladies of London. This works. Actually, more so, it was probably after Dubai.
Yeah, so no confirmed premiere date yet. Obviously, they released the teaser this month, is what this says. I haven't seen it yet. Focuses on British blue bloods, ambitious American expats, and glamorous international socialites. And it explores what it means to have status in modern London, navigating tradition versus the demands of the globalized world. Yep. I'm into it. I think it's going to be good. I think that, I am always going to root for doing some shows outside of the US because I do think that the location, the culture adds a fascinating aspect to it.
You're
I think
you
know exactly what I'm going to bring up. They screwed that up. Bravo did, the cast did, like the Real Housewives of Dubai should have been better. What were you thinking?
I was going to say Real Girlfriends of Paris.
Oh, that one I loved.
Yeah,
I loved Real Girlfriends of Paris.
Bravo screwed that one up.
Yeah, I don't know why that didn't come back. Like nobody watched it because they didn't promote it at all.
They absolutely panicked. They didn't promote it at all. It was on like a prime time too. I think it was like a Thursday night show. It was after, I think the first episode was probably like right after a Salt Lake episode or something. It worked out perfectly. Nobody really watched it, but like we look at Southern Hospitality. Yeah, it's backed by Leva, who who's been on Southern Charm for a few years. But Southern Hospitality didn't do that well in the beginning either. You and I watched it from jump, told everybody to watch it. People eventually started watching it by season 2. Now we're going into season 4 of that show, and it's huge, and everybody can't wait for that to come back. Real Girlfriends of Paris was enjoyable. It was campy. It was in Paris, which, people can get a glimpse into the city life over there. And it was mostly all expats from America who were over there just trying to navigate. It was a little bumpy. Like the road was a bit bumpy. It was kind of
it's first season shit.
It was unfinished, and that's okay because they didn't know what they were doing, and I don't even think the producers knew what they were doing. But they panicked, and as soon as they saw those ratings by the end of the season, we just never heard of it again.
I know, dude, and it's a shame. Like if you go back and watch that, it's a great if you're bored on a rainy day and you're like, I don't know what to watch, throw it on. It's comforting. It's a very good comfort show, and like.
Yeah,
the way that they do it throughout the city. I love that this has turned into promotion for Real Girlfriends in Paris.
Why not?
But the way they pop around like the city, like you get like to really dive into the culture. But what they did better than Dubai is the whole show's not about Paris. The show's about them in Paris. What Dubai did relentlessly was remind us that they're in Dubai and money and Dubai and money and more Dubai. It's like, we know.
But what about Dubai finally fixed that? Dubai fixed that by the last season that aired, and that was their best season. And the people that watched it, that actually stuck it out, which we did not stick it out, but I still watched a good amount of it. It was so much better in that last season. It drops, it goes to the reunion. We're hearing all these things going on, a lot of rumors starting, and then all of a sudden, see ya, canceled. Like it didn't make any sense. And pretty much even the Housewives of Dubai were like, we didn't know that this was coming. We thought that we had at least another couple of years to figure this out. And I thought that they had figured it out. So it just kind of goes to show you that if you're not OC, if you're not New York, they're still putting that on pause. And we're hearing that they're adding new housewives to the mix and they're going to keep some of the new ones, but it's not going to be the old ones that everybody still is clamoring for. Like, it's New York. Just who cares? It's the same thing. Like, it's not working. Put it on pause, bring the old people back. I don't care what happens. Just do something with it. They could have done something with Dubai. I know, production cost is probably insane to film in Dubai. Maybe that had something to do with it, but at least give us like some sort of reasoning as to what happened.
Yeah, because we were getting a lot of comments and messages about why are you guys not doing Dubai? Why are you guys not doing Dubai? And at that point, it was like halfway through the season. So we're like, look, if it's this good next year, like we're in.
Yeah.
And by the reunion, everybody was talking about it. Like a lot of shit popped off and everyone's like, oh, Dubai this, Dubai that. And then, like you said, bang, they got whacked. So we never know what's going on behind the scenes over there. Like it never really makes sense. Some of the moves they make, it seems like there's clear paths forward a lot and they decide to go hard left away from them. But back to Ladies of London, like I'm in. I want to see the social scene in London. I want to see the like aristocratic scene in London. If we get some of that, like that stuff's fascinating to me. I think it's really interesting, especially the culture over there. So like I'm in. But what I need from them to do well is, okay, first few episodes, like bring us in, get us comfortable with the setting, talk about your life there, all of that good stuff, the culture, blah, blah, blah. But then we need to dive into some characters, right? I need to learn about the people on the show. And that's where Dubai crashed and burned season 1 so hard because they just kept leaning on the city. They kept leaning on the city. It didn't fucking work.
Yep.
So I'm excited for this one. And I think that coming off of its predecessor, which is very, very highly touted, it's going to have watchers. People are going to be excited for it. It's all about, can they land the plane or are they going to do a Dubai and do a hard left? I don't know, but I will say I'm excited for this to come back.
Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on for because we do not know when that's coming out. As you already said, there's no release date, but something that we do have an idea of when this might come back. And by come back, I mean actually make its premiere. And that's Rhode Island, which we have a date? Heard. No, we do not have this date. They finished filming. And you know how I know that they finished filming today?
No.
Paulie, Dolores's husband, I don't know if they ever got married. He posted a picture of him and Dolores saying, filmed, wrapped, everything's all done. Rhode Island, you're in for a special treat. It's just like Jersey. So
oh God,
that says
that's
a few things to me. Yeah, that is bad. It says a few things to me. One, we were trying to figure out what Dolores's role was going to be on that show. Maybe she's just, the matriarch or whatever to show them the ropes. She's going to be in the first scene. It's her friend, and then it's her friend's group of friends from Rhode Island. I'm getting the vibe that she's in this a lot more than we thought.
If we get it, it's either that or she's a producer on it. Maybe she's got it like an EP credit.
I didn't hear anything about that. I mean, that would be something that would pop up when it premieres, but I don't know if they would even tell us that before the premiere. I could see that potentially being the case, but it still screams to me that she's in this show a lot more than what I thought.
I'm okay with that. Like I like Dolores, separate from Jersey. Like that show just went so far south so quickly. I'm cool with having, and I always love the cheesy, leap into the next franchise like they did with Vanderpump to the Valley. Like I like that stuff. For whatever reason. I know it's corny, but I like it. So I will always agree with, let's bring in a vet that we know so people will tune in to see Dolores and then maybe get hooked on some of the other ladies. It's like I'm into that. That's interesting. And that makes a lot of sense if they're still trying to figure out what to do with Jersey. And they're like, you know what? We got Dolores under contract. She's with the network. Let's fucking bring her up there and add her to the mix just to drum up some press for this whole thing. Like I'm down for that. Even if she's in the whole season, like I'm okay.
Yeah. So they finished filming, and as we know from Housewife shows, starts a clock 3-4 months later. I would imagine we're looking at maybe a January 2026 release for something like that.
Feb. That's crazy. They've been talking about this shit for a long time.
They've been talking about it for so long, but we've heard so many different rumors about different cities. I mean, remember over the summer we were talking about them
Cleveland.
filming of Real Housewives. Yeah, Cleveland. Real Housewives at a Cubs game in Chicago, and nobody really knew anything about it. We heard similar things about Rhode Island before they actually announced it. They announced it back, I believe it was in June or late May, when they released that entire slate of all the shows that were coming out.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
they just kind of threw that one in there. We didn't really know what to think about it. And then we started hearing that Dolores was there. So they've been filming it for a little while, and they just finished filming. So I don't know. I'm excited about it because it's a new Housewife franchise. That's really the only thing. And if people are still, clamoring for new Housewives, why not try to dive into this one, especially if it's not up against, everything that we're watching right now is going to be gone. So it's going to be up against maybe the tail end of the Potomac season, maybe the beginning of Atlanta, something
It could
along
be the
those
tail end of
lines.
Salt Lake.
Yeah, that's probably true. Salt Lake just started.
They might, honestly, if they're smart, they'll leapfrog it after Salt Lake.
Do you get the feeling whenever we're talking about shows? Because like Miami, this is the 16th episode. You can go back 16 weeks. Do you feel like your life is just kind of flying by, but like it's encapsulated by seasons of housewife shows?
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel that way.
Wait, I've had this thought process before where I'm like, my
I'm
whole
just
year
accelerating to my death based on when a housewife show was on.
via Housewives franchises. No, I've had this
Yeah.
same exact thought in my head where it's like my year is mapped out on when a season starts and when a season finishes. And that's like, it breaks my year up into like anywhere from 3 to 5 segments. And then I
My
look
daughter
back,
was born on the reunion episode of Salt Lake, and then we got into this. Like, you can legitimately, if you have a child born, or maybe you get a dog or a cat or something, and you kind of just map it to where it was in the season of the Housewife show that you're watching, you can trace back by weeks on where exactly how old that person or animal is. It's great.
It's
Or
called
it's
time.
terrifying.
It's crazy. Well, it
like
really is only because like we'll get to the end of a season. And I'm like, God, this feels like we've been doing this for like forever. And you're like, well, it's been 4.5 months. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. And then where the panic sets in of the accelerated timeline of our lives and slowly crawling towards our death is the fact that I didn't realize that it had already been 4.5 months. Where did those months go? I'll tell you where they went. Talking about fucking Emily and Gina from OC.
10 weeks. That's 70 days that we've been talking about Gina and Emily.
Don't do it like that. That's even crazier.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It sucks.
Yeah. Wow.
It's not great.
I love our job.
To be fair, our job's great, obviously. And by the time that Salt Lake is over, if that's January, we're going to be looking back like, why can't we have more of this show? We tend to really do it when it's an OC season and it's 18 episodes, and we're like, Jesus Christ, like it's almost half a year just bitching about OC. Like, that's our lives. So sometimes that's our lives. Sometimes we want more. It just depends on the show. So do better, Bravo.
Well, that's the other thing. Well, hold on. The other part is when they're really good, time flies.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword. The bad
It's
shows,
like
it's
slowly
feels like
crawling to our deaths. We're hurtling to our
now
deaths,
we're
but
sprinting.
with a smile on our face.
I would rather die fast with a smile than die slow, sad.
Wow, really existential stuff going on right
Yeah,
now.
make a t-shirt. Bang. What's next?
My son is a season. When your son or daughter hits 18 weeks, your son or daughter is a full season of Real Housewives. Old.
When you hit 21, 21 weeks is a full season.
There you go.
Because you got to count the reunions.
There you
Unless
go.
it's a bad
That's
season.
right around like 5 months. My son's 5 months old. Ooh, my son is also 5 months old, but I choose to say my son is an entire season of Real Housewives.
My son is one Real Housewives of Beverly Hills old.
Oh, Jesus. That's a full year. That's a half year,
that's
at
2
least.
years old. Anyway, we can
Anyway.
keep going down this road, but what's next?
I don't want to. Let's just move on. This one's a little more fun because we keep doing this and we keep talking about her, and we're just trying to figure out if she's going to be back on a Real Housewives show. And that's Nene, because she was found hosting the After Emmys on NBC. So she's done this before. This isn't the first time she's done this because I've seen it before, but I don't think she did it last year. If I'm wrong about that, somebody in the comments can let us know. But showing her again on NBC We've seen her come back. She's talking to people. She's on like Radio Andy. It
She's cool
just
with
looks
Andy
like
again.
she's gonna figure things out, and they're gonna get her back because they sorely need her, and they always need people like that. I don't even care what your thoughts on Atlanta really were. If you really think that they can run it back with that, that's fine. But if you have somebody sitting out there in Nene, think about it like Lisa Barlow is not on Salt Lake City. We just had an episode where Lisa Barlow wasn't on Salt Lake City, but they talked about it the whole time. But if she wasn't on the show, and the show's still great, but you have Lisa Barlow sitting out there, you still want her back in the mix. You still want to throw her back in there. Nene's the same way. I don't care if you really think that Atlanta's really good. If Nene's out there and she's available, you're going to throw her in. Of course you are.
Absolutely.
And you're
And
going to
watch
love it. And you're going to watch the shit out of it when she does inevitably go back in. So we're going to keep on looking at those things. Whenever I see something that raises an eyebrow, Nene's doing something NBC adjacent. She's doing something Bravo adjacent. We're going to throw her into the news segment because we want it to happen. And if we talk about it, you guys talk about it, other people talk about it. Bravo finally hears you. Although I don't think that they really monitor socials. They only
do.
monitor ratings.
They definitely monitor
They
socials.
just don't care what we want.
They tend to think that we're wrong. Like, oh yeah,
And
that's what they do. They see the comments and they go, oh yeah, well watch this. They weren't expecting this, and it's even worse. Like that's what happens.
And it's bringing Gretchen back to OC.
Exactly. That's the move. Bring a Tamra-friendly Gretchen back to OC. Great idea. This is awesome.
You guys must have thought tuning into our news episode that you were going to be get out
free and
scot
clear
free.
of
We were
OC.
going to come after OC.
Nope, not till it's over.
The poor people that are enjoying OC this season.
No, they've let it be known in in our reviews.
Oh,
all four of them left a 1 star.
All four of them.
When you guys always shit on OC. Yeah, we don't like it. I don't know what to tell you.
It's really
I
bad.
have no issues with you liking it. You know, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the show.
Yeah, just
do you want from me?
listen to us and get a different opinion, and then we'll tell you why your opinion's wrong.
It's just funny to me that a differing opinion equals a 1 star review. That's always going to be funny. It's like, I don't agree with you. Bang! I'm going to affect your livelihood. Like that's fucked up.
That doesn't really, but yeah.
No, not at all. We think they're funny. Don't leave them because we think.
Yeah, no,
funny.
don't do it because it's funny. Unless it's a really funny joke, then I'll laugh about it.
Yeah, we do tend to send them back and forth sometimes, like randomly, like a really funny one. We'll send it, but
yeah, always.
But Nene, like again, you know, when you have an all-star that is willing to come back, you bring them back, and this is kind of what we've been seeing across the board with other franchises is in this mode that they're scrambling to figure out how to fix things. They are leaning on some of the vets again. And I think that's the easiest move. I think that's the right move. I think eventually you're going to bring the right person back to their OG franchise and it's going to land. That could very well be Nene Leaks. I think they hoped that would be with Phaedra on Atlanta, and maybe the original plan was to bring Nene back that season, but maybe it just didn't work out scheduling wise. Maybe they wanted to see how Phaedra did first, because the whole 5-episode Phaedra thing's still random as shit. I'm glad she's back on the show. I'm excited for next season, but if you get Phaedra back in there, you get Nene back in there, I think Kenya's probably cooked for a while, but I didn't mind that cast other than one person. So I think Nene at the helm of that might work. You know, I think that she's ready to come back. She's been even separate from her relationship being mended with Andy. Like she's been doing that podcast with Crystal from Beverly Hills. So I think that she has enough of a foot back in the Bravo world, and then they're putting her back on NBC for the After Emmy show. We're starting to see her a lot more. We're definitely hearing about her all the time. So I think that this to me tells me she's back. And I think they're going to probably do it in a later season rollout. Probably not as late as Phaedra.
They're going to do Phaedra again.
No, I would say like episode 3, you're going to get a Nene Leaks return to the screen.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
I think that would work perfectly, honestly. And if she's willing to come back, why not?
Absolutely.
Pay her whatever.
She's one of the greatest of all time.
Do that instead of doing an Ultimate Girls Trip or something, or whatever else you're going to do. I'm okay with that. If we're going to budget for Bravo, and I'm going to go ahead and look at the expense report, if I've got Nene up here or a potentially one-off whatever season of Ultimate Girls Trip, I'm going to take Nene
Yeah,
I mean, it's
every
probably
time.
the same price. Let's be very honest right now. So
Yeah,
let's throw her out there. Why not? It's going to bring
I'm
one
in.
of your huge franchises all the way back because the people that tuned out because they just don't really care anymore about Atlanta are going to tune immediately back in. So it's going
Think
to work
about
every
it.
time.
90% of Bravo memes that I see are Nene Leaks reactions.
Yep.
Like 90% of them. And they're always funny. So like that's the mantra for Bravo for the rest of this year and 2026. Do the easy thing. Just try it. Try
Yeah.
not to get in your conference room and figure out the sneaky thing that no one's expecting. It's not working. Do the obvious thing. It's probably going to work better. That's the new mantra for the next year and a half. How about that?
I'm a huge fan of that mantra.
Yeah, that's just if it works, fucking do it. Okay. And if it
Huge fan.
doesn't, that's the other thing. It's like if it doesn't work, no one's going to fault you for bringing Nene back. It's like it's a win-win. If it doesn't land, it doesn't land. It's not the end of the world. No one's going to be pissed off that you tried to
Yep.
bring back one of the greatest, right? So I hope she's
I
back.
agree. Well, here's something that certainly will work. And we got the announcement today.
We borderline
Summer House.
predicted this.
All right. Summer House spinoff. It's called In the City, which really just hits you over the head with exactly what the premise of this show is going to be.
Good.
And it really works for a couple of idiots who have been screaming into their microphones watching Summer House for the last 3-4 years, saying, do more shit in the city. Here's a whole fucking show about your friends from the Summer House in the city. We
Great.
knew about it. Obviously, Lindsay's been teasing it for months at this point. We knew she was going to be in it. Obviously, there's some other pieces that need to settle. Who are the other castmates? From the look of it, did you get to watch the teaser trailer?
I did.
Okay. So from the look of it, it sounds like Amanda and Kyle are going to be involved. Everybody's kind of confirming that. Andrea, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Him and his wife Lexi are going to be in it as well. To what capacity, we're not really sure. The main focus is going to be Lindsay. I don't know what the rest of the show is going to look like. Obviously, you get a very plain description of what's going to happen here. It's, aging people trying to figure out their way in the city with parenthood and
aging people sounds so mean.
It does sound mean, but how else are you supposed to describe people that go from
30 to 40 somethings figuring it out in the city? Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
I'm just more so doing it as like a, it's a graduation from the Summer House. Let's call it
that. Sounds better.
How about that? Sounds nicer.
Aging people trying to figure it out in New York City.
We're all aging. We're all aging a little bit at a time, one housewife show at a time at this point.
Yeah, we've gone through that
already. Kind of run through. Do you want to go back through that? No. Okay.
I mean, we can.
We can. But I do want to ask you, what do you think about this? It's called In the City. They're going to be in the city. Who's going to be in it from your perspective? Who do you expect to see? What do you expect to see? I think it's going to work regardless because everybody's been clamoring for this. Like I said, we talked about it years ago, saying that this could be an easy move for them to do. Try to get some fresh blood in the Summer House. I saw somebody today say that they wanted Silas on it. I can't remember what his wife's name is. Remember Silas
from Martha's Vineyard?
No.
Jasmine's his wife. No.
Jasmine was. I couldn't remember who
you could bring Jasmine back. She was delightful. Silas is an
Jasmine
asshole.
was delightful. Silas sucked. And I saw somebody actually post that today and I could not believe my eyes. But anyway.
Silas probably posted that today.
With the people that we're specifically getting with Lindsay, Kyle, and Amanda, not really sure what their role in Summer House is going to be, if this is going to be their last season, but we'll digress from that. And then Andrea and Lexi, what are you expecting?
I'm expecting kind of a housewifey vibe as far as like bopping from person to person. That's what I'm expecting. Now, the other option, and I've thought about this too, is it's a Lindsay-centric show. And it's people that we know coming in and out of that life. Maybe you have a short plot line for one of the people that comes in where it's like a 2 or 3 episode arc and then they're back out. And I think that honestly is not a bad format because you bring people into that group that you already know. And the Summer House list, I mean, I'm telling you right now, we're going to get Hannah Berner back on here for at least 1 or 2 episodes.
I really don't think
Do you think she burned that bridge far enough?
I think if we see Paige, in my opinion, I think we're going to see her briefly. I don't think Paige is going to be on this season that much at all, if even at all, honestly.
I would be surprised if we don't get a cameo. I know their schedule's like insane.
Yeah, a cameo for sure, but I think it'll just be Paige. I don't think Bravo wants Hannah. I don't think Hannah really wants Bravo right now. I just don't really see her making her way there. And again, if it's Paige, she'll be there for a quick blip, a quick quote when it comes down to it. And then I think she'll just move on. And she might be
she's
able to
got too
move.
much going on.
She might join the show in a year or two, maybe 3 years. But I do think she's going to take a full hiatus from reality TV based on what we've seen of her schedule.
Yeah, I mean, with Giggly Squad pretty much going on a world tour, it seems like, or national tour at the very least, where they're doing like every corner of the country. I imagine the next step would be international. She's like big time now. She's doing commercials. Like she's gone the route of Ariana, not to that level yet, but she's starting to be the next person to take that route. So that calls into question, obviously, can you afford Paige? Which probably not. But at the same time, I would imagine we'll see her. I would think for at least an episode. I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be just a quote. But regardless, with the core group we have, I mean, shit, you can bring Luke back for a couple. You can bring a lot of people in that you know. I'm not saying I need Luke back on my screen. My point is you
I'm
have a
not sure what his
large,
standing is with Bravo anyway.
I don't know. My point
Wow.
there is that's just to name a name. We have a large pool of people that we are familiar with from this franchise. And being in New York as well, you can start to dip into other ones too. Like let's say some of the Southern Charm guys are up for the
Yeah.
weekend. Bang, we see them in that. But I think that it's one of two routes. We're either going to get a main cast, multiple. Lindsay's probably still going to be at the helm, but it's going to be multiple people. We're going to bop around to their daily lives in the city, them interacting with one another, the fallout and drama from that. Or it's going to be a Lindsay show and we follow her around and we see some of her castmates come in and out of that. Either one, I'm 100% in on.
I think it could boil down to whether or not Amanda and Kyle are going to continue to do Summer House, because
I think
I
that's
don't
the
see a
big thing, yeah.
world in which they do both full time. And if they're part of this announcement, which they pretty much were, I know a lot of people are kind of reading into it, but it's a lot of people that have inside information that have maybe talked to somebody at NBC. They've mentioned that Kyle and Amanda are definitely going to be on it. I think it really might be those 5 people that we already mentioned, with Lindsay, Kyle, Amanda, Lexi, and Andrea in the city doing exactly what you said, going from scene to scene. Everybody gets their own thing. Then they all kind of come together. We have a couple of friend ofs, if you want to call it that. I don't really like calling friend ofs in an ensemble cast, but here we are. I think that's pretty much what it's going to be, though. I think it's really just going to follow those 5 for the first year. I think Kyle and Amanda are probably going to move on from Summer House after the season that airs, probably in February, I would imagine. After that, I assume that they're done. They've moved to the city. Then they get to move on with their lives. And they're on a show still, which is the best of both worlds for them. They still get their final send off. Lindsay gets her send off this year. The real question for me is, are we going to add Kyle? Are we going to add Carl to the mix? Because Carl's going to be a little interesting in the midst of a Lindsay centric show. Obviously, Lindsay would have to sign off on it, but it seems like, I know she already had her baby, but it seems like this show is kind of her baby.
I think that maybe season 2, Carl's an easy plug and play. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think the further away you get from the engagement and unengagement, the more copacetic they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after a summer together again, like we haven't seen what that looks like. But I would imagine that because we saw glimpses last season, obviously there was tension because it was 6 months removed, but they were still able to be fairly amicable for the majority. Like we saw a couple of spats here and there because somebody said something stupid. But all in all, they were pretty respectful of each other. I imagine that's only going to grow more and more, especially with a child involved now. I think that takes a lot of the pressure off as well. There's not going to be any awkwardness because it's night and day from what they were. Like she's now a mom. It's not going to be as tense, I don't think. And he's got soft bar now, so he's got something to focus on for the time being. So I think he's easy to bring onto that show. It does call into question the future of Summer House. Is that now West and Jesse?
Well,
And
that's what I was just going to ask you. That at this point, with In the City being announced, in the fallout of everything from that show, assuming Kyle and Amanda move on, assuming Carl moves on, because if Kyle and Amanda and Lindsay aren't there, Carl really shouldn't be there anymore. Sierra, I think she'll probably come over as well because she is pretty close with Lindsay at this point. What do you think the Summer House looks like moving forward with this announcement, with this show kind of taking away a couple of the key components of that show?
I think the best way to do it would be have the OG cast for the next 2 years, which is doable because you can film both because they go back and forth from the city to the Summer House. So that's feasible. And you just force feed us new people. I don't care who it, and you can whack them halfway through the season and bring somebody else. You got to find 3. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
3 people that we love, and you jump them in with West and Jesse. If Sierra wants to stay, by all means, she can stay. Paige, obviously, on to bigger and better things. Lindsay's on to her own show. So I do think there's a format in which it works. You need people there that we know. We've seen what happens when you try to launch an old franchise with a brand new cast. People, whether it's good or not, it's kind of irrelevant because a
Right.
lot of people tap out because their favorite's not on it. So to make this transition smoothly, you have to ease it off. Like you can start to pluck people away, but not entirely. Maybe they're on the show less and somebody else takes more of a stance forward. Is West going to be the new Kyle of the Summer House? I don't see that. He's not that kind of role, but that's the biggest piece you got to find, because whether you want to agree or not, whether you like it or not, Kyle is pivotal on that show. He is the
Right.
cornerstone of Summer House. And again, it doesn't matter how you feel about him. That's just a fact. So you got to find who's going to take that role. And it could be somebody from this cast. It could be one of the ladies from this cast. It could be one of the dudes from this cast. I don't know, looking at it from what we've seen over the past few years, I don't see anybody on that cast right now that is that guy or that girl. I don't see it.
No, they're
So
not. And obviously Kyle sort of evolved into that. He wasn't always that guy, but it worked out really well when that show started. And I would say, even going back as far as the first season, Lindsay and Kyle were sort of the yin and yang of that show. That's
right.
what they need to figure out, in my opinion. If you're going to roll out, which I think they're going to, but if you're going to roll out with West and Jesse, you're going to lose pretty much every girl on that cast. Everybody else is moving out. They're going away. Lexi already announced that she's not coming back. We've lost like 4 or 5 women over the last 4 or 5 seasons that have just disappeared, like Sam,
Yeah.
where we just never saw them again, and we didn't really
Bring her
understand.
back.
Bring her back. And that's, well, I don't think that she would want to come back. I think she just got engaged and she lives in a different city. But
Like if you brought
at this
her and
point,
Olivia from Southern Charm and put them in, I'm in for that.
I don't think that that's what they want to do.
No, I'm just saying that.
Well, I don't think Sam's going to do it anyway, because she already got, like I said, I think she got married too, actually. So she's pretty much out. But along those lines, sure. I think that they really need to figure out the female portion of that cast if you're going to keep West and Jesse, because you've lost every other woman.
Well, you
on
have
that
Gabby. Gabby will still be there. So you got Gabby, West, and Jesse and
see a
Sierra,
world.
maybe. Like we don't know. Sierra hasn't made any announcements, but she
Do you
makes much
really
more
see-
sense in the Lindsay show in the city than she does
Yeah.
in the new Summer House.
I don't see a world in which Gabby or Sierra stay on that show if it's West and Jesse. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Now, the original Summer House started because it was, oh yeah, we've got a bunch of friends kind of just going to a house in the Hamptons. I'm sure Jesse and West have friends, but then you're giving them too much control. I like West. Jesse, I'm not really sold on at all, especially after last season. I don't think that either of them can carry a season. I don't think that either of them can carry a show. So they do have a lot of things to figure out. Is this why they canceled Martha's Vineyard? Are they going to start pumping in the people that they had from Martha's Vineyard?
I'm okay
people
with
that we know from Summer House. So there are some things that they can do, and there are some people that we know. I think, honestly speaking, if you have the core cast just kind of moving on to the city, I think it makes the most sense to scrap everybody from that show and start fresh with a new cast. I don't think that you need to keep anybody from the Bravoverse, anybody that's started there or has crossed over or whatever. Just throw a whole new cast there and let them work it out. Let them have their growing pains that usually work out for a show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch, and I'm curious what I think the Summer House this season is going to tell us a lot. I think we're going to see a lot more that's going to tell us kind of what direction we're moving in based on who's on the screen more. If they're smart, they're going to highlight who's going to return to the Summer House towards the end of the season. I would imagine, if I'm a betting man, we're going to roll from Summer House into In the City. Like that would make sense to me. And you get that crossover scene that I already talked about, and bang, now we're in the city with Lindsay. So I think that you're going to see early on in the season more so of who's coming back. Later on in the season is going to lean a little bit heavier on the next show. And the biggest thing that this season needs to have is at least 2 captivating newcomers, 2 people that were like, ooh, I like this girl. That can take place of some of these veterans that have been on the show that are moving on. And obviously, Bravo being Bravo and the Bravoverse being what it is, we'll start to get some leaks for too long. Like we'll start to hear about who's going to definitely be on the show. We'll definitely learn like what the format of the show is and what that means for Summer House. But I do think if you try to do this too fast and pull everybody out of Summer House, you're going to have an issue. I do really like the idea of bringing in some Martha's Vineyard people. I loved
Mm.
Martha's Vineyard. I thought that that was a show that should have continued. I'm bummed out that it didn't. Now, if they have a second life and you bring 4 people from Martha's Vineyard to the Summer House, I think that works. There's multiple people on that cast, the majority of that cast that would vibe very well with the Summer House crew. So
Mhm.
just combine it all into one Summer House. Like, again, let's do the easy thing. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't watch Summer House Martha's Vineyard. We watched both seasons and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves while doing it. There are some good people on that show, like really good castmates that could have an impact in the actual Summer House. So I think that
Yeah.
that's a great idea. You can even mix it up more. Say goodbye to the Summer House that we've known for however many seasons. Here's the we're moving to the other side of the Hamptons. New house, new cast, and have the old cast kind of hand off the torch gradually over the next couple of years so that we're not just punched in the face with a new cast because you're going to piss off a lot of people that have their favorites that are now gone. So
Yeah.
your viewership of In the City is going to skyrocket and then
Yeah.
Summer House is going to plummet, and that's what we have to try to avoid.
I would honestly even consider moving out of the Hamptons entirely because they can't
Okay.
even film at half of those places anymore.
That's a good point too.
And that
Yeah.
was such a good mainstay of the show early on. Now, obviously, we do have the castmates that we love, so it didn't really matter as much. And obviously, we had a themed party every weekend, but that kind of worked, and then it didn't work, and then it would get stale, and then it was okay, just depending on what the dynamic was between everybody in the cast. But you can't go out with them anymore. We just see them leave and then see them come back, and then it's this and that and whatever, and you get timestamps, and it's like, whoa, what did you do last night? We don't get to see any of it
You
because
get
the
a,
Hamptons are tired of
like
them
a
filming.
shoddy phone video of
Yeah,
somebody drunk, like flailing it around.
Yeah, and it just doesn't really hit the same way. So I'm not saying don't go to Montauk because that's just like influencer heaven, and it's not fun
What's
anymore.
another schwanky shore point?
There's got to be something in North Jersey that probably works. That would love to have them. I'm not saying Seaside Heights. I'm saying,
Like
up
Monmouth.
what is it? Red Bank, I think is that like a schwanky place? I don't know. I don't know
I don't
anything
know.
about Jersey geography unless it's South Jersey.
Like Martha's Vineyard works, but again, that one's tough because of the commute. And that was
Yeah,
their
the
big issue with their
commute
cast is
is
it was 2
tough.
weeks straight through, which is a different like Summer
Yeah.
House works so well because they get a breather from each other.
Uh-huh.
So it like with Summer House Martha's Vineyard, it was 2 straight weeks of them being in the same house, so it's a different dynamic. So it would be cool to see them there, but I don't know. Like they should just say fuck it and do it at like Ocean City, Maryland, like
That
something
would
like
rock.
that.
But then then you have the commute. So they'll figure something out. They're probably going to stay at the Hamptons, let's be very honest, but they do need to figure out the social life of the show
Yeah, because we don't see it
because it's
anymore.
a huge component and there's so many things that happen while they're out. And I know everybody's expecting to see the Summer House crew, but if you have a new cast for the most part, yeah, you've got a couple of people that we know, then they're going to be fine. They're not going to get mobbed by fans. They're not going to have like all these things going on. You should be able to still do it and still should be able to film at these bars and these clubs that they're going to. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but that is, I think, one thing that they have to address. And if they can figure that out, we're good. It doesn't really matter. The cast is going to figure it out and keep a couple of people that understand what they're doing, whether it's Martha's Vineyard or Hampton's crew, whatever it might be. They'll figure it out. But that's something that I sorely feel like they are missing out on.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm sure that that's not lost on like producers as well. The fact that
Yeah.
we've completely lost the social scene of the Hamptons. Now it's just we literally hang out at the house the whole time.
Mhm.
So I'm sure they've hopefully addressed that. I mean, we could sit here and speculate for hours on who's going to be on the show, what the show is going to look like.
It's more fun now because I remember us doing it. We would typically just do it like the season finale, and then obviously we would have the reunion, and then we do it again for the last episode of the reunion. We would just start talking about what the show looks like, how you fix it, and we weren't really complaining about it, but we were speculating on what it looks like moving forward because, and this is where the whole idea hatched from, which we probably should have trademarked, Lindsay in the City. We talked about that years ago, and here we
Literally
go.
3 years ago.
Could have been in the works years ago. Who knows how long they've been working on this? But in my mind, this is our idea. So you guys enjoy our show when it comes out.
You're welcome. And I do think the last thing I'll say about it is I think Kyle's going to have a big role on it.
Yeah.
Only because of the line right across the screen in the trailer where it says, "Are you ready to send it in the city?" I'm like, so Kyle's going to be a big part of this because that's his thing.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this one. This is probably top of my list of things that needed to happen, good ideas. It seems like an absolute no-brainer. We talked more about their time in the city last season than we did at their time in the Hamptons. Like more
And that was,
happened there.
by the way, it's revisionist history, obviously. They were probably soft launching the show by showing us all of those things in the city.
That's a good point.
Like, hey, let's see how everybody likes these. And then we would just rave about the scenes in the city.
Yeah.
And then we'd get to the themed party in the Hamptons and we're like, whatever. Let's go back to the city. Let's see how that's going.
But hey, that's doing your research. I'm cool with that. That's seeing how, like, testing things, testing the waters, and then listening and going, hey, this worked, guys. Let's make a show about it. Great. More of that, please. Less of, I think this will work. No, Jeremiah fucking doesn't. Somebody fire him already. Anyway, lots to look forward to.
Hell of a news week. Good news week.
We never get weeks like this. I'm stoked. This was exceptional.
Yeah. So you guys are welcome for the extra content.
Yeah.
We're happy to give it to you.
Truthfully, like I love that we have shit to talk about because usually we're like, what happened this week? And the minute that I post the episode, something drops. Like Taylor Frankie Paul, next Bachelorette. It's like, fuck.
Yep.
How do we miss that?
Every time.
So anyways, lots to look forward to, guys. The lull. This hasn't been like that bad of a lull, but we have been in one, but it's almost over and we got a lot of new stuff to look forward to. Some of the older stuff coming back as well. We'll see how some of these seasons are doing. I know Potomac is teed up to launch, I think, in October without Karen, which is going to be very interesting to watch. And then obviously Karen's departure from prison is definitely going to be in the season. Like I said, all I need from that is Giselle narrating the letters she receives from Karen in like a very cheesy scene.
Are you just doing the same discussion we had last week on the news episode? We didn't have enough news this week. We have to add.
We had enough. It came back in my head and I was like, oh man, that would be a great scene. It really would. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's our show. Bro's got to go.